In this video, we will be solving quadratic equation by extracting the root. Now let's take this first example right here. So we're supposed to solve for x. X squared minus 9 is equal to 0. So we are supposed to isolate x by itself here. So we can do that by adding 9 to both sides. So that's plus 9 and plus 9 right there, so that we can go ahead and cross the 9 out. So we are left with x squared is equal to 9. So what are we going to do next here is, again, we want to isolate x by itself, but this is x squared. So in cases like this, when x is squared, we are going to use the square root property. The square root property states that if x squared is equal to some constant c, then x is equal to plus minus square root of c. So we are going to square root both sides so that we can cross this squared out, and we square root this one as well. But please remember, based on the square root property, this side will become a plus minus, and we can cross out the squared and the square root. So then we are left with x is equal to plus minus square root of 9. So square root of 9 is 3. So then we can go ahead and say that our x is actually plus minus 3. So the two x's here would be x is equal to positive 3, and then the other x is negative 3. So these are the solution to this equation that we have up there. At this time, I would encourage you to pause this video and try this problem out on your own. And when you're done, unpause it and check your answer. Okay, so we go over the problem here. Again, our target is to isolate x by itself. So then we can go ahead and divide 3 to both sides so that we can get rid of the 3. That's the coefficient of the x squared. So divide 3, and we're going to divide this by 3 so we can cross this out. So we are left with x squared is equal to 75 divided by 3 is 25. Now, we are going to use the square root property for this so that we can isolate x by itself. The square root property states that if x squared is equal to some constant c, then x is actually equal to plus minus square root of c. So in this case right here, we are going to square root both sides so that we can get rid of the squared, so that if we square root this side, this will come out a positive and a negative square root of 25. Again, that's based on the square root property. So then we can go ahead and say that our x is actually plus minus square root of 25. And then the square root of 25 is 5. So then we can have x is equal to plus minus 5. So then the two x's are x is equal to 5, and then the other x is negative 5. Did you get the same answers as this? Good. Perfect. Now let's move on to the next example right here. So again, we are supposed to solve for x. So we are given 5x squared minus 80 equals 0. So then again, our target is to isolate x by itself. So then we can go ahead and add 80 to both sides so that we can have just x by itself there. So that's plus 80. And then plus 80 right there so that we can cross out the 80 on this side of the equation. So we are left with 5x squared is equal to 80. But then we want the x by itself. So then we can divide both sides by 5. We divide this by 5 here so that we are left with x squared is equal to, we have 80 divided by 5 is 16. So then we are going to solve for x, but this is an x squared. So we are going to use the square root property for this, which states that if x squared is equal to constant c, then x is actually equal to plus minus square root of c. So we can actually square root both sides here to solve for x by itself, and we square root this side based on the square root property. This is both positive and negative, so that we are left with x is equal to positive negative square root of 16. Now square root of 16 is 4, so this will come out x is equal to plus minus 4. So the two x's are positive 4 and the other x is negative 4. So these two are the solutions to this equation that we have up there. At this time, I would encourage you to pause this video and try this problem out on your own. And when you're done, unpause it and check your answer. Okay, so we go over the problem here. Again, we're supposed to solve for x by itself here, but we have an x plus 3 quantity squared, and that is equal to 81. So what are we going to do here is that we want to get rid of the squared here. We remember that the antidote for squared is square root. So we're going to square root both sides, and we're going to square root this side as well. We remember that we are going to use the square root property for this, which states that if x squared is equal to some constant c, then x is actually equal to plus minus square root of c. So this becomes a plus minus square root of 81. And so we crossed out the squared and the square root there. So then we are left with x plus 3 is equal to the plus minus square root of 81. Now remember that square root of 81 is 9. So then we can go ahead and rewrite this as x plus 3 is equal to plus minus 9. So then we can show the work down here. So the first part would be with a positive 9, and then the other one will have a negative 9. So we can rewrite this as x plus 3 is equal to positive 9, and then the other one would be x plus 3 is equal to negative 9. So then we go ahead and solve for x here. So these are the values of x that will make this equation true. Did you get the same answers as this? X is equal to 6 and x is equal to negative 12? Good. Perfect. If you find this video helpful, hit like and subscribe for more math videos. See ya!